shout out and rest in peace to my little brother, Lil Flop, aka Magic from the hood. He was the first one from the hood to say and discover. He discovered the Acacia blocks. I got to give a shout out to the Acacia blocks because they weren't predominantly too big back then. Now, you know people don't come outside till they got numbers, right? And I'm going to stand on that. My brother came to the hood, was like, hey, you know, some dudes over there on the other side, about 11/8, called Acacia Block Hustlers. Now, mind you, this is where you got to check the time period, because during the time period when we were active, the KTRs were active. And the KTRs had numbers. And they ran 11/8. So I told my brother, man, the homies will handle them. You know, they'll take care of it. But he was the first one who, out of the homies, to actually discover. I don't mean to say it like that, to discover who they really were, because they weren't active how we were active back then. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, think about it. A lot of homies from the 8 went to the pen. Started going to prison. Late 90s, early 2000s, and so on and so on. And all them that was in prison, just imagine, they were the ones that were outside in the 90s doing what they was doing to end up in prison. So, you know, vocally, I'm not going to say, oh, the Acacia Blocks came over there and did all this and that. Now they became a big hood. Now they on the other side of Hawthorne Boulevard, you know, claiming neighborhood and doing, pushing the history card. It didn't happen until late 2000s, bro. They can tell you all they want to tell you. Everybody can tell you what they want to tell you, but they wasn't pushing that back then. It was impossible. Homies was not having it. Was not having it. That came late when everybody went to prison. So I'm going to retrack and go back to what I said. All the homies from 11/8 that went to the pen were out. They were out there running them up on Oxford. Trust me, they was on Oxford, on York. They was everywhere. You know how I know that? Because my homie Spat from the hood stayed on York and 118th. We used to walk from the hood, go down Prairie, go to the 11/8 hood, go chill with the 11/8s. Because 11/8s used to go to Spat House, chill at the homie Spat House. That's how close we were. Back then, in the early 90s, mid 90s, to the end of to the beginning of 2000. Around that period of time, there were no Acacia Blocks outside. No, they were not. They were around, and I gotta say, they were claiming hustlers. So yeah, they were rocking the green rag too, I think. I'm not too sure. But, you know, I remember I came one time to come see the homie, and I went through 11/8 hood because I came from Inglewood. catching the bus, and I got off on Imperial, and I went towards Oxford. When I came down Oxford, I seen ABH GK hit up on Oxford, and I was like, whoa. I went behind the wall. I was like, what's going on over here? You know, they were moving around in silence for a little bit. Now they popping out, trying to do their thing. Like they basically share the hood with the 11-8 gangsters. But my brother knew that there was going to be a problem. Shout out to Occasion Blocks. Y'all might get mad at me, oh well. You know, like I said, there was a lot of cliques and crews. They were one of them part of the little cliques and crews that were out there. But they weren't really doing anything at that time. See, the people they get along with, we don't get along with, which makes them an op too. Even though we ain't never had no funk with no Occasion Blocks because they were over there. You know, that's just, you know, because of the section they were at. You know what I'm saying? Now they got numbers. Now they, you know, part of the hundreds, getting along with certain neighborhoods that we don't get along with, didn't get along with back then. And I'm speaking on the time we were active. You know what I'm saying? Right now, yeah, they got numbers. But my brother knew there was going to be a problem back then. He was like a watchman for the hood. Him, Boo Capone, and Jason were the watchmen. They were like the security guards for the homies. They knew everything. They would go some places and bring news and bring it back to the hood. And we'll take all that information, gather it up, and act and respond upon that information to go realize and see if it's true. And it was true. You know what I'm saying? But they were there. They were around at the time. You know, cliques and crews. They were a little clique. Yeah, they were.